Welcome back to another Artist Reignited Nature Tube. Just wanted to talk to you about these little filter boxes that I make out of plastic plant pots. They're very easy to make. They collect a lot of debris out of your water, making it crystal clear. This one here, I'm using some activated carbon in this bag with some Secam Matrix, and then just like a carbon sponge on the top there. And they work quite well, these ones. Also got a much more basic one here, just has a fine sponge in there, sort of acting as a secondary debris filter after the main sponge in the bottom there on the siphon system. So what I wanted to do is take you into the shed and I'll show you how I make these. They're pretty simple and they work quite well. You can use them on pump powered systems in ponds. You can also use them on these air powered ones which I've built here. So many applications you can use them for. You could even probably mount them in an aquarium if you wanted to. It's like a sort of a drip tray type filter. But I've been using them on these pond filters, and as you can see, the water's been crystal clear. So let's head to the shed and I'll show you how to make it. I'm just sifting through some of my sort of leftover irrigation supplies, which I didn't wind up using in my ponds, so please excuse the mess here. But all you need really is just a bit of sponge left lying around, or some fine filter material, and one of these pipe fittings with a little thread mount. The pipe size doesn't matter, it just depends on what irrigation system or what pond filtration system you're using. With mine, I tend to use these little 19mm fittings. They work quite well. They're not too small to get blocked and not too big to reduce the flow too much. In some instances I do use these larger ones here, but I quite often use these for those water bridges, which I've got on my other ponds. These are 25mm fittings. The smallest I would go is 13. I wouldn't go any smaller than that, just because as you can see they do build up with a bit of algae over time. So what you need is just a bit of that sponge, and you can use any kind of plant pot. I like to use these little square ones, and I like to make the holes a bit bigger at the bottom, and a couple of extra holes just so over time they don't get blocked. Alright, so we'll head over and we'll get cracking onto this. Please excuse the mess, this is the shed. So what we got here is our basic small pot here. I like to use these step drills simply because you can sort of allocate the size on them. A lot of your good ones should have these different sizes. So this fitting here will be a 13mm barbed inlet, but it'll go to a little 19mm threaded fitting. This is just leftovers I had from my last project. So what you want to do is start drilling sort of about just above midway up like that. It'll start off slow till you get the drill to sort of bite in. And then check your size. So where are we at? On a 18mm. Just go a little bit more. This doesn't have a 19mm fitting, but we can just circle it around. And we can pretty much just sort of test fit it. Yep, there we go, that's what you want. You want a nice snug fit, so you can sort of thread that in like that. There you go, and then the way it'll work is the water will go in and sort of drip down onto your filter media. I'll just make another little hole here. Just to allow a bit of flow, and also just to reassure that it doesn't get blocked up too easy. So we got that sorted there, so we got adequate flow. And then what we got is a bit of fine sort of filter, sort of fibrey sort of sponge, filter fibre. Just tuck that in the bottom there. And then we've got this coarser stuff to catch the sort of much more dense debris that comes through, fish waste, etc., algae. And we'll just sort of allow it to run a bit longer without so much maintenance. The way I've got that, I've sort of angled the whole of it to the side there so the water will flow and sort of do a little bit of an elbow loop around there. Sometimes these can be just a bit finicky to get in there. And there you have it. That's the sort of a water polishing cartridge, you could call it, that can run off the end of your pond pump or even into your sort of irrigated pond drip system and that. So what we're going to do now, we'll take it outside and turn it on and see how it works. Alright, we've got the unit here, and I've just got a little locking clamp just to hold it in place as well. And we're going to go fit it onto this outlet here, which runs over the Guppy Pond. And there you have it. Looks like it's set up pretty good. Nice and sturdy, not going anywhere. This just runs off the T-junction that sort of splits the pump. So the pump sends it up here and splits it into the ponds, where it sort of gravity feeds into the bog filters and then back in the main pond. So we'll just turn him on. And there you have it. I just want to have it up high enough just so it drips down there, nice like that. See? There you have it. That'll add some extra polishing effects to the water and more clarity. I've also put one on here, a slightly larger one. Even though I've got the bird netting on there, it'll still drip through the bird netting. In the swordtail pond, I've got one that's underneath the netting, just because the way the air siphon system comes up with the pond. Yeah, that's how I build them, and I find they work really effective. They're low maintenance. This one here I've had running a month, and as you can see, it's sifting out a lot of rubbish. It doesn't even need a rinse yet until it's sort of fully covered. And I only ever rinse them once I see the water starting to emerge above the filter material, and then you know that they're blocked and they do need to be rinsed out and cleaned or replaced. Thanks for watching. This is Artistry Ignited. Like, comment or subscribe. Tune in again soon.